Hey, y'all, welcome back. It's KJ.
Hey, and it's Alice. So we don't know where you're listening from. I listen when I'm getting ready in the mornings and in the car.
And I listen when I'm cooking. So, whatever you're doing and wherever you are, tune in because we have a lot to say.
We sure do. Enjoy the next podcast. Thanks for listening.
Hey, y'all, welcome back to Simple Conversations where grace meets strength. Hey, Alice.
Hey, KJ, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am good today.
Awesome. Awesome.
So, listeners, KJ is about to spill the tea. That's what my daughter comes home and she says, "Spill the tea, sis." So I don't know this story. So I'm going to preface it by saying I think we're going to get into a pretty interesting story. And so I'm very interested to listen. So I am hearing it from for the first time, just like you. Okay, KJ.
Okay. So, I know a person that loves golf, that attended a golf program for 7 to 8 years during the summer. And as a result, fast forward, this person now is in their 20s and had a huge desire to work for that program. So that program was like a summer golf camp, and they always have camp counselors. And this young man, that's what he wanted to do. So he filled out an application back in December, and they called him immediately. And they did a phone interview with him, and they said that it went very well, so well that they wanted to see him for a second interview.
Awesome.
So the second interview was a Zoom interview. So now they're seeing him face to face for the first time. At this point, they now know that he has attended the program and that he has a degree. And now they are interested in a different position in him.
Okay.
So not just a camp counselor, but this particular program, they have it at a second location and they haven't been doing very well. So because of his interest in camp counselor, because he has attended the program,
right,
and because he has this degree, now they are very interested in hiring him to be like second man in charge at this the second location in hopes of growing the program. And so this young man was very excited because now he's gone for a position and that he thought he was going to be making $10 an hour.
Right.
It's going to be part-time. And now he has been offered a bigger and better job. Okay. So and just so you know, by this time, it's like the middle of January, or almost the 1st of February. Okay. So the third interview, he goes to meet with the prior interviewer's superior boss.
Okay.
Okay. And at this point is when they offer him the position of, I'm sorry, I don't remember the position, but again, it's second man in charge at this second location. And they have shared with him that in his interview, he has been very professional in all interviews, that because he attended this program from multiple seasons, that they believe that he could be an advocate for the program. And could grow the program. Because of his degree, they believe that he could absolutely do everything that needed to be done to grow the program without having to have a lot of hands in it. And they are super excited. However, they have a dress code.
Okay.
So he filled out the application in December, remember? So this is his third interview. So in the third interview, they have asked him to cut his hair. They have asked him to, that he will have to wear a long sleeve shirt to cover up a tattoo. and that he will have to remove an industrial piercing that he has at the top of his ear. So this young man immediately started asking questions such as, do you have women in this program that work for this program that have hair that touches their shoulder? And they said, yes, sir. Do you have women in this program that wear piercings? And they said, yes, sir. And he said, well, with all due respect, it sounds like what you're asking me to do is sexist.
Mm-hmm.
And he allowed the uncomfortable silence to happen. And the lady who, the superior, said, well, I do have someone that I can talk to. And so he said, that would be wonderful, because I'm really looking forward to, working with y'all. I love this program. I love golf. I'm excited to be on the golf course every day. I'm excited to work with children. I'm excited to help grow your program. And so I look forward to hearing back from you. And so she said, you will hear from us within 72 hours. And so he thanked them for their time. He thanked them for the interview, and he went on about his way. Well, within 72 hours, he heard back. Actually, it was more like 48 hours. He heard back, and they told him that they had spoke to someone else. And it is my understanding that the lady who was doing all this was like a district supervisor or a district manager. Okay. And the first two interviews were, I failed to tell you, was with the golf lady. Like she's like the district golf manager. Okay.
Like the golf pro, like what she,
well, she's like the head of the golf section for this entity. Okay. So they told him, we're really looking forward to having you start Tuesday, March the 1st. And you will need to wear your hair up. Okay. Just get it off your shoulders, put it in a bun. Your tattoo is okay. So you won't be required to wear a long sleeve shirt, which he was fine with anyway. And you will have to conceal your piercing. Okay. So they really, they thought that out. Right. And so he was super excited. So he knew he was supposed to start Tuesday, March the 1st. And surprisingly, on Thursday, February the 24th, at 4:00 in the afternoon, he got a phone call asking him to submit 3 references, 2 professional and 1 personal. And so he said, oh, wow, you've kind of caught me off guard. I'm at my job, but can I call you back in 5 minutes? So I'm going to take a break and I'll call you back in 5 minutes. And so when he called her back, this was the district golf girl and not the district manager. It was just the head of the golf department. And so he called her back. And so she said, we need 2 professional references. And he said, well, I'll give you now this is a young man who's only ever had 3 jobs. Right. So he said, I'm going to give you my current boss's phone number. However, if you leave a message and tell him why you're calling, he is not going to return the phone call because he does not want me to leave. Right. I'm going to give you my prior boss's phone number. Good luck getting a hold of him because he lives in Las Vegas and he lives the nightlife. And that's what he told him. Right. And then he gave his personal reference. So we know for a fact that he knows for a fact that the personal reference was called because they spoke to each other. On Monday morning at 8:30, February 28th at 8:30, he received an email that stated their job offer had been recanted because they could not get a hold of his professional references and that he would no longer be eligible for the job.
Oh my goodness. They waited a whole month to ask for these references.
Actually 3 months. If you think about
Yeah.
the start of the application process was
Usually
in
that's on the application.
usually it's on the application. It was not on the application. So this young man's ideas of what really happened is from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that he wrote back a very professional email that stated, "Thank you so much for the 3 months of interview time. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really was hoping that my resume, my degree, that me being professional in the interviews, you stating that you thought that I could grow the program and be an advocate for the program and be a good face for the program would speak for itself. Not really sure what has transpired since this past Thursday, but thank you so much." So he really believes that they did not like the way he looked and that they found a reason based on references why they wouldn't hire him. And he was heartbroken.
I'm sure.
Heartbroken.
That kind of
Because
stuff makes me so angry.
so angry. So I will just finish this up with that this young man was willing to cut his hair. This young man would have totally taken that piercing out. They changed the dress code because they wanted him, but then found a reason not to hire him based on references because they really didn't like the way he looked. If had it been the references, it seems to me as if they would have given him a little bit more time based on, when you think about this, they asked for the references on a Thursday afternoon between 3:30 and 4.
To start on Monday.
And he's supposed to start on Tuesday.
On Tuesday, okay.
On Tuesday. But see, he got the email on Monday morning at 8:30. So they didn't even try to contact the references on Monday.
No.
They only tried to contact the references on Friday.
Right.
Now, listen, I completely understand being so busy that you're not going to call references multiple times. I understand that. But they didn't really even give him the opportunity to say.
But then don't require them. If you're not going to call them, don't require them. And they obviously didn't matter because they'd already offered him the position.
And they didn't. And does it really matter when it's not on the application?
Right.
So if those references matter, they could have had 3 months to get in contact with those references.
Wow.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Can I just tell you that this was for a Christian program?
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. That's why they had, sexist grooming stuff. Ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so
who decided that a man's hair shouldn't touch his collar? Where'd that come from? Or that men can't have piercings? Like what? That's, oh my gosh.
I'm not really sure. But it was very disappointing to this young man. Very disappointing.
I am sure.
Yeah, very.
Like, I feel like that should be an article in the Pilot, or at least in our small newspapers, like bringing awareness that, we say that, that our young generation's lazy and they don't want to work and people just want to live on unemployment. And hello, no, people want jobs. They want jobs that pay them what they're worth to live.
Right. But see, this is the thing. Like, I'm so sick of hearing people say that about anyone when they don't know, because this is the thing. With the great resignation since COVID, this is what it boils down to. And I'm sure you've heard me say this because I've said it multiple times. People are sick of working for shitty companies for shitty pay with shitty people for shitty people with shitty people. So they're going to go find a job that they might not get paid as much, but they might not have to deal with as many shitty people. So I say all that to say that when I asked this young man how he felt about sending that email trail to someone above those two women, he said, I don't want to work for that shitty company.
Exactly.
They would do that if, first of all, if they would string somebody along for 3 months.
Right. Meanwhile, he's not even looking for something else because he's already been told that he's going to have
that he has this job, and he's so excited about it. So excited about it. So
sue them for mental anguish. I was listening to, I was at an event recently where there was a mom talking about her high school son who has only had 2 jobs. And one of them was at a car wash where he only wanted to work part-time, like he's in school. And the manager would do things like tell you needed to be there at 11. You get there at 11, but they're not ready for you to clock in. So you have to sit there and wait until they tell you that it's okay to clock in, like 30 minutes later, 10 minutes later, an hour later. And she was like, that's illegal. They can't do that. But, he's a teenager. He doesn't know what to say or how to say or to stand up for himself. And things like that just continued to go on. And so like the job he's at now is at a movie theater, and the movie theater one like sent out a message, and like he just works weekends, and said, I know that these schools are on break, and so I'll be scheduling you full-time hours this week, whatever. And like, no, I didn't sign up to work full-time, and I have plans, and no, but like, that's not okay to mistreat people. And I told her, I said, I'm glad that you said this and you talked about how unfair all of that was, because not that teenagers don't need money, but we're talking about a teenager who still lives at home and doesn't really have a lot of expenses. And it's hard to stand up for themselves, even when they have a mom telling them what's legal and what's not legal. Right. And they can do it through texting, which is how they communicate in that industry. But what about the people who need the jobs?
That's it.
What about the ones who have to have those jobs and are scared to say anything because that's their livelihood? That's the difference in them being there and sleeping in their car.
Yes.
With their kid.
Right.
And we treat them that way. And we know we treat them that way. And we know that we can get away with it because they can't afford to leave.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that makes me angry.
Yeah.
And then we have people who are like, yeah, they just don't want to work. Blah, blah. No, that's nice of you to say that from your privileged space.
Yes.
Not even having to work. Okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I just spoke to a nurse the other day who is being, and listen, she works in a very important job. She works like in the recovery room after surgery. Okay. So all the time, like people come into that recovery room and she has to get them back breathing.
Right.
Or, it's a very high stress job.
Right.
And her immediate boss and her boss's best bestie on the job is bullying her because of her accent, because she's from New York. And do you know that this woman has been working at this job for 3 years and has been written up 9 times for the most ridiculous stuff you've ever heard of in your life? And so now the boss holds it over her head. One more time and you'll be gone. One more time and you'll be gone.
Oh my goodness.
And I can't even believe that this goes on in situations where lives are in danger. Like, you have time for that petty mess where lives are in danger, where we're saving lives?
That goes back to that mean-spirited stuff I talked about in a previous podcast. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Can't do it.
Mm-mm.
Can't do it.
No. And what I hate is that there's such a fear. The same thing happens in churches. There's such a fear by those people that are in control because they control your livelihood.
Yeah.
That we can't band together because we see what's happening. We know that how she's being treated is wrong, but we're not going to say anything because we don't want him to come attack us.
That's right.
I hate that.
Hate it. Hate it.
Ugh.
Anyway, listeners, if you are one of those people that have said that people just don't want to work nowadays, these are two instances right here that we have shared with you where people genuinely want to work, but it's shitty circumstances.
Yes. Nobody wants, no one should have to do that. I mean, no one should have to do that. And why do we allow horrible people to continue to be the ones in charge? That boggles my mind. And again, that goes back to churches, schools, workplaces, any organization. I have been under a multitude of horrible leaders in my time. It boggles my mind. I don't know why we allow them to be in positions.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's okay. I don't know why they're the ones that we're allowing to set the standard for the ones who will replace them. I don't know why we allow them to create that culture in that environment.
Yeah. Mind-boggling.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah. So anyway, listeners, I just really wanted to share that story with you because it has really disturbed my heart about that.
I'm really proud of this young man for standing his ground and for asking the hard questions and for having the courage to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And to make other people uncomfortable in the room. And by asking the questions that other people would be afraid to ask. Yeah. So I applaud that. And I hope
if they decided that they didn't want to hire him because he used the word sexist in the interview, that should really make you step back and think. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, so we're scared to hire him because he used the word sexist. Why?
Are we sexist? Do we have a double standard?
Right.
And if they do with men and women, then you know that they do with minorities and white people. I mean, are there even minorities that work there? Are there even?
I was just going to say, because I have been
to predominantly white. Mm-hmm. Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Yeah, that makes me mad too.
Because it's a Christian organization.
Yeah, I look for that. Like when I go places, I look to see, are there other women there? Are there women in positions of authority or power? Are there people of color there? Are they in positions of authority or power? Yeah, yes. I look for that. I didn't used to look for it. I didn't even notice it. I'm intentional to look for it in all spaces.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
So I wanted to share that. I hope that it will give our listeners some perspective about some things, especially people who work for corporations, especially people who are in leadership positions.
And check your heart. Like these things should make all of us look internal and to say, okay, what are my prejudices? What are my biases? Because we all have them. We all have them. So when you see a young man that has long hair and a piercing and a tattoo, do you naturally think something derogatory? Or do you see a college graduate who excelled in their field? Like, what do you see? What's your default?
Yeah.
I would say that this is a great story for all of us to question what's the default when we see people, when we pass them at the shopping center, when we pass them at the mall, when we pass them, I don't go to the mall. When you pass them anywhere.
I know, right? You went to the mall?
The last time I went to the mall. It's been years, but like when you pass people at Target, okay, I can say Target and the grocery store, like what's your instinct? When you drive by them on the street, what's your default? Wow.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Wow.
Wow. Exactly.
And if you have a story like the ones we shared, let us know. We would love to have you on the podcast to share your story. We will keep people and names anonymous because that's not the point of it. The point of it is to share the story. We don't have to say who they are or what, because that's irrelevant, because it happens everywhere. And sometimes when we tell you the more specific details, then we're like, oh yeah, that doesn't affect me. But it does. It affects all of us. Those stories affect all of us.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay, listeners, get back to your dinner. Maybe you've arrived at your location by now. We hope you have enjoyed this conversation, and maybe you feel a little fired up like I do. Let's do something positive with that energy today. Let's be change makers and practice kindness, deliberate, intentional kindness and generosity today.
Yes.
Have a wonderful day, and thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, y'all.
Hey, you guys, we just want to say thank you today. We want to thank our listeners and those of you that have subscribed to the Simple Conversations podcast. Friends, thanks.